This year, for my Christmas display, I decided to include as many neighbors as I could, and that ended up with 4 on each side and across the street for a total of 16 neighbors. And I used these candy canes that I came up with, and today's video is gonna be all about how I made those candy canes. Now, a little background here, I started back in 2018 with my Christmas display and have been trying to just kind of up my game every year since then. And this year I said, hey, I wanna include some moving heads, so I added those. And my dream is really to do the whole block. And I didn't quite get there this year, but I did get 16 neighbors, 4 on either side and across the street as well. And I was trying to think of something very simple that I could put in front of someone's house that wasn't gonna be like super intrusive, but also could be viewed from either side of the street. And I was originally thinking Christmas trees. I'd seen these ones online. But just the cost of like pixels and all that, well, you're gonna laugh at cost when you see what I ended up spending, but that kind of just pushed me away from some of those things, some of these props that I had seen. I thought, hey, a candy cane is a great item, but a lot of the props that I saw, they really only shine the pixels in one direction. And I've seen people use PEX arches before, and those things look great. It kind of looks like just the tube is lit up, even though it's got the LEDs inside. So I settled on trying to use PEX and trying to make a candy cane. And that got me thinking, can I just make the candy cane out of PEX? So I tried to bend just the PEX, and that really didn't work. And then I had seen these wire frames that people use for wreaths. So I thought, hey, let me get this wire candy cane frame and I'll just wrap it in pixels. That was gonna be a lot of pixels, and those wire frames also weren't cheap. So I finally settled on, hey, what about some rebar? If I just bend some rebar into like a shepherd's crook or into that candy cane shape, I could just stick it straight into the ground and we really should be good to go. If I can put some PEX over it and run some LEDs in it, that should be very simple. And in theory, yes, it is simple. In execution, in practice, it was a bit involved, but I think it came out pretty well.
Now, you might be thinking, Richard, where do I even begin? How do I even begin learning something like this or going down your own path? And I used to be someone that was like, hey, just do it until you figure it out, and that's a great way to learn. It is, but it takes a ton of time. And so as I've gotten older and value my time more, especially now that I'm having a family, I just want to seek out industry experts and learn something as efficiently as possible, which is why I partnered with Skillshare for today's video. For my Christmas show that I do every year, I'm heavily relying on After Effects, and I need an industry expert to teach it to me as quickly and efficiently as possible. Now, Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives, with thousands of classes led, like I said, by industry experts across film, illustration, design, freelance, productivity, and so much more. Skillshare can help you take your career, your skills, your hobbies, passions, or like me, your side hustle to the next level. One of the things that I've learned in doing this channel is that you definitely have to practice creativity. Yes, sometimes things come to me, but I want to get more disciplined around creative writing and making myself attempt to be creative. Like exercise, this is a muscle that needs to be worked over and over and over again so that I can get better and better and more creative to keep making content. I'm currently working my way through a creative writing course, forcing myself to do something that I don't necessarily like to do, and I'm excited to see where I end up in the next few months. So if you need a jumpstart in 2025, then definitely check out Skillshare. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial, so check the link in the description below and get started today. So I started with 20-foot sections of 3/8" rebar. And the reason I chose 20 foot is because that's what I could get home. And it was the cheapest that I could get the rebar without getting like something super huge or anything like that. The 4-foot sections were very expensive, so I got the 20-foot. I cut them into 4-foot sections, thinking I'd put about a foot in the ground and then I'd have 3 feet left over to play with to make that candy cane. I also got 1-inch PEX. Originally, I tried 3/4 inch, and that just was way too tight, and I couldn't fit anything else in there. So 1-inch PEX, 3/8" rebar. Then I had to bend the rebar, and I tried a lot of different ways, a lot of different tools, and I really wanted something that was like motorized to do this for me, that could get it really consistent, but those were way too expensive. So I first tried to put the PEX onto the rebar and then
bend my candy cane. And I did not have much success with that. I ran into all kinds of issues with the pecs slipping and sliding as I was attempting to make that bend. So I abandoned that and I started to just bend the rebar by itself. And that also let me paint the rebar already in that shape, and the paint would stay on. If you painted the rebar when it was straight and then bent it, some of that paint would flake off and whatnot, especially if you were running that pecs over it and then bending it. So bending the rebar helped because then my paint would stay on better. I was using this rebar bender that I found on Amazon. It really just grabs the rebar and it's just a lever. And I will say consistency was really not great at all here. I got better at it, but the candy canes, if you're paying close attention to them, they all are pretty different. Some are really tight and they look great. Some are much too big, but generally I got them all done. So I got them all bent, and then I just spray painted them white. And originally, the reason I did that was because I just wanted inside that pecs it to be white. I thought that would help with the light. What I ended up finding out in my testing is that if you didn't paint the rebar and it started to rust a little bit, it would stain the inside of that pecs. So I do think paint is necessary. So I went with the paint, went with the white paint. I got it bent. Now how on earth do I get this pecs over that rebar? And so I have a crawfish pot that I use to boil crawfish. And I said, hey, let me just boil some water. I'll soften the pecs up and I will just slide it on. And it ended up working. I tried a heat gun and a bunch of different things before on trying to get that pecs to be more flexible. The most efficient thing was to just heat a bunch of water and get it wet. Now the other thing is, how are we gonna get these LEDs in there? I'm sure there's better ways to do this, guys. I know I'm kind of deep into the video at this point. I'm sure some internet folks have much better ideas, way better experience, and that can help us out in the comments for how to do this more efficiently. But I put a string through the pecs first, then I put it in the boiling water, softened it up, and I slid it over the rebar, and then with that string in there. Now, the string would get caught pretty good sometimes, just depending on where it was on the rebar and on that bend, because there's certain points in that curve where the rebar and the pecs are touching and it's very tight. So I would have to kind of jimmy the string back and forth to loosen it up first, and then I could use the string to pull my pixels in. And that kind of leads me into the pixels. So I went with pebbles or seeds, I believe they're called, and the density, I went I think it's 15 millimeters, so 1.5 centimeters between each one. I measured about 3 feet, and that got me to a weird number of 62 LEDs in each candy cane. I went to a supplier on AliExpress because I was like, I don't want to be soldering 60 some odd candy canes over and over and over again with these seed pixels. So I custom ordered 62 LEDs with a 3-foot extension. So essentially you've got a 6-foot strand. Half of it has LEDs, half of it does not. I would grab the middle and I would put that around the string and pull that through. So I've got my LEDs going from bottom all the way up around the curve, and then the extension cord comes back down out the bottom of the candy cane so that I can use another extension cord to get to my next candy cane and keep that signal going. Again, there might be better ways to do this, but that's what I came up with. That's what worked. I'll put a link to the vendor. His name is Ray Wu. He was able to knock that out in like a week and get it shipped to me, so that was really great. And above all, saved me a ton of time. I think that's kind of it for the candy canes. Each house has 4 candy canes. They also have a waterproof box that has the controller in it, and then that hooks up to the first candy cane, and then I have a 10-foot extension between each candy cane. So 3 10-foot extensions with the 4 candy canes and the box at the start. Now that box is, I'm calling it a waterproof box. It is a Harbor Freight ammo can. It's plastic and does have a gasket. Seems like some of them are waterproof, some of them are not. I'm using cable glands. That's how I'm running the cables in and out of the box. I gave every neighbor out of the 16 one of those boxes that had a 50-foot extension cord attached to it. I had to cut the extension cord, slide it through the cable gland, and then resolder on the connector, or I guess you could use one of the like screw connectors. So that's how I got the power inside the box and for it to be waterproof. Also inside the box was a Wi-Fi plug, so that's 16 Wi-Fi plugs. And then I'm using an ES Pixel stick, and these are the ones by Fork and Eye. And the reason I chose those is because they have an SD card slot, and so the sequence could be on the SD card, and these Pixel sticks only need Wi-Fi for the timing. Now I had a lot of issues with connection of those, I think it's D1 mini boards. Those little Wi-Fi antennas they have are not great, so I ended up switching. This costs even more money, but I found D1 mini boards that have the external antennas. So I was able to put another cable gland to put the antenna outside of the box, and that really solved a lot of my connection issues. I then also have the pigtail going out from the controller to get the positive, negative, and data out to my first candy cane, and that's going through a cable gland as well. So each box usually has 2 to 3 cable glands, and then for Wi-Fi, I use Ubiquiti here at my house, and then I have these mesh access points. I only have 2 of them at certain people's houses, and so I have power over Ethernet going out of 2 boxes. I strapped the Wi-Fi mesh access point to the back of 2 candy canes, and so on those boxes, they have 4 cable glands each. But generally, that's what's controlling it. And at all 16 houses, they do have an extension cord running across the sidewalk. So I have this rubber cable cover. They're really nice and heavy. They seem great quality. The downside being they have a bright yellow strip that seems to fade pretty quickly in the sun so far. They've only been out there for 2-3 weeks, and that thing's already turning white. But I have those at everyone's house because I don't want anyone tripping over the extension cord. And all I asked of my neighbors was, hey, can I plug this in somewhere at the front of your house? And we just plug it in, and that's how all 16 are powered. Again, I have the Wi-Fi plug so that in my troubleshooting and setting up, if I needed to restart one of the boards, I could just go to that Wi-Fi plug, turn it off, turn it on. Thankfully, they're way more reliable than these little ES Pixel sticks. And I'll link to everything I used in the description below, and also to the video about the entire show if you're interested in that as well. But that's kind of my overview of the candy canes and the boxes that control them. If you're interested on going more in depth with my Christmas show, even than this video, then check the link in the description because I'm gonna have a sign up there for when I do come out with that content. I don't know if it's gonna be an email form or what kind of form it's gonna be, but I'll just keep you updated with an email about all that information as well. Again, if you've got suggestions or ways to improve, especially when it comes to these controllers, because they're not super reliable. I haven't had syncing issues. The syncing's actually been phenomenal, but I've just had stability issues where sometimes when I restart one, it doesn't load properly, or for whatever reason, it doesn't connect, and I have to use the Wi-Fi plug to restart it. Most of this stuff can be done remotely. I was out of town last week, and I could check my cameras and see if anyone's candy canes were off. I could go into the app, turn their Wi-Fi plug off and on, and most of the time it just joined right back into the show, which was pretty neat. But if you got any questions or anything, let me know in the description. I love this stuff and am passionate about it and want to just keep improving. So if you've got suggestions, please let me know. Also, if you're a sequencing pro, I need tremendous help in sequencing these candy cans, and especially once we add in the additional 16 houses, if we're gonna do that next year. I wanna get some awesome sequences running up and down the street. So if you've got experience or knowledge, please let me know. As always, thank you so much for watching Break It Yourself. I know you've got infinite videos you could be watching on YouTube, and you stopped by here to watch this one. It's very appreciated. As always, don't forget to thumbs me up, and we will see you next time.